Hey guys, I am so excited to be doing this digestive health series with Elizabeth. The first topic we'll address in the series is constipation. Now, today I'm going to give you 3 tips relating to nutrition for the most part on how you can combat that constipation. So the first tip is fiber. So really, constipation could be considered a fiber deficiency. Most Americans are not concerned about their fiber at all. Most people are looking at the protein on packages, worrying about counting how much protein they're intaking in a day, but they do not care at all about how much fiber they're eating. And while I don't agree with counting either of these things, I just think it's silly to think that protein is the end-all be-all of nutrition. Protein is not the most important piece of nutrition. In fact, I could argue that fiber is one of the most important nutrients that we are lacking in our diet, really. So I would say Americans eat about half of what they need in fiber for the day. So 14 grams is about the average American intake of fiber, and we need about 25 to 28. So that's about half of what we need. However, the more we eat, the better it is for us. So some ways we can increase our fiber intake seems pretty obvious, but we need that reiteration sometimes is fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans and lentils, and then nuts and seeds. So these are 4 ways that you can add more fiber into your diet. Now, when you do this, when you are increasing the fiber in your diet, you have to make sure to do a couple of things. The first thing is to not do it all at once. So you can't go from eating 5 grams of fiber one day to 45 another day. That is going to result in further constipation. And then the second thing, when you're increasing more fiber, which brings us to our second tip, is increasing fluid. If you are not getting enough fluid, so enough water particularly in your diet, you are not going to be able to combat this constipation, unfortunately. It's not as easy as just increasing the fiber. I wish I could say it was, but you have to increase more water because it won't be flushed out of our system, that waste, without that extra water. So ways that you can help yourself boost your water intake or your fluid intake is I personally love to do this, is carrying this with you all day. So even if you're just home, if you don't have it already filled, you're probably not going to drink it. So if you just have that already filled, that will help you to remind you to drink the water, right? The second thing is, I actually try to do this every day, is drinking one of these before I do anything. So I wake up, I drink one of those, and then I go about my day. And really, the third thing you want to do is be careful of your caffeine intake because, for instance, coffee has obviously caffeine in it, right? And when we drink caffeine, it actually dehydrates us. So we actually need more fluid if we're drinking caffeinated drinks. So you can't really count that coffee, unfortunately, towards your fluid intake. And I did want to also mention, kind of going back to fiber, but also relating it to fluid, is things like whole grains, nuts, and seeds. When we're eating these things, we actually need more fluid intake, more so than fruits and vegetables or even beans and lentils, because whole grains, nuts, and seeds are extremely high in fiber and extremely low in water content, right? Whereas fruits and vegetables, you bite into an apple, it's juicy, or, a pear or a plum that has water content to it. Same with, spinach. When you cook spinach, the water comes out of it. We don't have that same water content in those whole grains, nuts, and seeds. So we especially need to increase our water with those. And the third tip, which doesn't relate as nicely with the nutrition theme, but I think it still is relating a little bit to nutrition, is movement. Movement is extremely important, and I know right now during quarantine it might be hard to get that movement in, but it's especially important when you are suffering with constipation, because if you're not moving, you're not allowing that peristalsis, that movement in your GI tract, so in those intestines, to happen. So then it's not going to be flushed out of your body. So movement could be as easy as just walking around your house. It could be going for a walk outside, as long as, of course, you're wearing a mask, doing some yard work, gardening, doing yoga. Anything that brings you joy and movement will help you with your constipation. So I really hope these 3 tips helped you. And now Elizabeth has a great little series on how to do your own reflexology to help you with your constipation.
Amazing tips. I'm Elizabeth, and I'm going to show you some reflexology points and acupressure points that help with constipation. So we're going to jump right into it. So we're going to start with a point that if you've watched any of my other videos, you've probably seen this point. This is the diaphragm, and the diaphragm is super important. So how you find this point is you bend your fingers down like this, and where the bend is, that's where the diaphragm. So we're going to work that across. The diaphragm is really important. It's really important for stress relief reasons. And also, there's organs in the abdominal cavity, such as the liver, that are attached to the diaphragm. So you don't want to have it be really constricted from shallow breathing. So that's why it's really important to do those deep belly breaths. Okay, the next point is an acupressure point, and this acupressure point is actually contraindicated in pregnancy. So if you're pregnant, don't use this point. It's right here, and you're going to go right into the webbing, and you're going to hold that point. So this point is also great for stress relief. So if you've noticed with these first 2 points that they're related to stress, and with constipation, at times it can be related to your stress level. So reducing your stress can be helpful in relieving constipation. The next point, we're going to use our left hand, and it's very important that you use your left because this reflex point is only on the left hand, and that's the stomach. So we're going to be right here, right near the thumb. We're just going to do small little circles. Okay. Now we're going to go over to the right hand, and we're going to go to the pinky side, and we're going to run our hand down here. And this is the valve between the ileocecal valve, it's called, between the small intestine and the large intestine. We're just going to do small circular motions. And then we're going to work up. We're tracing right now. What we're doing is we're tracing our large intestine. So we're going to come across. So it's going to be kind of like a square. It's a little hard to do it like this. It's much easier to do it down across to the other side of your hand. But just for show, this is where you go. And you go here. And when you get to here, you're going to switch over to your left hand, just below the diaphragm line, and you're going to go across over to that pinky side. And you're going to go down. And what you can do to continue it is you can keep going down and wrap it around to the other side of your thumb, and that's the rectum. So this is a great one to do a few times, and you can do it very, very gently. Returning to the right hand, coming up, sweeping across, sweeping back on the left hand, down, and out the rectum. So those are the reflex points for the large intestine and also the rectum. So you can do those multiple times just to try to get things moving. For the last one, we're also going to do another stress relief point, and that's the solar plexus. The solar plexus is actually connected to the celiac plexus, which is in the digestive tract, which is a bundle of nerves. So this is a great one to do for constipation. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath because we all need one. When you finish your exhale, tap it closed. And then one more technique that I commonly use in the morning is doing clockwise circles around your belly. And this can also help with constipation. Okay, those are my tips for helping to relieve constipation. We're very excited about this digestive series. So if you have any comments, feedback, anything you'd like to see, please let us know in the comments. We'll also put below in the description both of our Instagrams and Facebook. So if you want to check out any more of our content, it's all there. And I'm really excited to continue with this series, and I can't wait to see you again soon.